Germinating seeds is one area where most gardeners fall down hard, but they don't have to.
How do you germinate seeds perfectly every single time?
I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you asked.
In order to start your seeds indoors, there's some basic supplies that you need. First, you need seed starting containers. This could be as simple as a yogurt cup or as fancy as a nursery seedling tray. I start my seeds in small clear plastic cups, and later, once the seedlings sprout, I transplant them into these 72 cell seed trays. You might be wondering, Lucas, why would you not just start the seed directly in the tray? It's a lot more efficient, right? There's a reason for this. Let me explain. By starting my seeds in bulk and transplanting once they sprout, I ensure that each and every cell in that seed tray is going to be occupied by a nice healthy seedling, instead of risking poor germination in the tray and wasting my already limited grow light space. Obviously, a plastic cup takes up less space than a tray.
A good potting mix is absolutely essential for starting healthy seedlings. I use a mix that's light and fluffy and contains peat moss and perlite. I generally buy a couple different bags of potting mix from my local hardware store. This ensures that if one of the brands is not very good, the other one will compensate for it. Drainage is just so important for growing seedlings. If you don't have good drainage, your seedlings can succumb to something that's called damping off. This is when the roots of the seedling have too much moisture around them and they end up rotting and dying. And this is obviously not what you want with your seedling. So ensure that you have nice, fluffy soil that water can easily percolate down and drain out of. Now, this leads me to another point. Make sure that your containers have holes in them. This will ensure that the water has somewhere to go. It's not just going to sit in the bottom of that container and rot the roots of the plant.
Let's talk lighting. When it comes to growing seedlings, lighting is extremely important. It's one thing that you can definitely not overlook. I'm talking about some little fluorescent lights that you can set your seedlings under until it's time to take them outside and get them ready for planting. There's a ridiculous amount of lighting options on the market. So you're probably thinking, Lucas, which one do I buy? Myself, I have a Fluorolight grow light. This is a fluorescent grow lighting fixture that's especially meant for growing seedlings indoors. It's worked great for me over the years, and I don't have any complaints with it. As with most specialized grow lights out there, this one was quite expensive, but there are some cheaper alternatives. Due to recent advancements in technology, LEDs are making a breakthrough in the grow light industry because they're fairly inexpensive and also they're extremely efficient. Another inexpensive grow light option is to just use shop lights from your local hardware store. Although they might not produce as fast growth as the specialized grow lights, they will work just fine on a budget.
If you have too many plants to fit under your grow light, you can rotate the trays every 12 hours. This allows you to grow double the amount of seedlings you normally would be able to. The only drawback with this is that it can be very time consuming to do.
Now, if you're just starting out growing vegetables and you don't want to spend much money, you may be able to get by with a sunny windowsill. I actually used this method my first year growing tomatoes, and it worked out very well.
After filling a cup with potting mix, I water it thoroughly to get rid of any air pockets. Then get your seeds. Make sure to choose varieties that will grow well in your climate. Sprinkle seeds on top, cover them with a fine dusting of potting soil, and mist with water. I use a seedling heat mat under the tray and a digital thermometer to ensure that the soil stays in the mid-80s, which is perfect for the germination of vegetables such as tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and eggplants. Oh, and I put a dome over the tray to maintain heat and humidity. Consistent temperature and moisture is crucial for successful germination. Here are some bell pepper seeds I started several days ago, just starting to germinate. Once the seedling starts to develop their first set of true leaves, I transplant them into individual cells to prevent competition and allow their roots to flourish. If you don't have a fan, then you must not be a fan of fans. But if you grow your own seedlings indoors, then you should definitely get one. Every year I use a fan on my seedlings for a number of reasons. First, it simulates wind and just really toughens up the seedlings. This stimulates new root growth, which ultimately helps to create stronger seedlings. Also, having a fan going helps mitigate disease by increasing ventilation. Yeah, you could definitely say I'm a fan.
I may be a pit dweller, but please don't label me as such. Label your seedlings instead. I cannot stress enough the importance of labeling your seedlings. I know it sounds obvious, but believe me, it'll save you a lot of frustration when you're planting out. I decided to get frugal and make my own labels using a yogurt container that I cut up and wrote on with permanent marker. You don't need a lot of dough if you want your vegetables to grow, and it's also great for the environment. Reduce, reuse, recycle, right? Oh, my jeans are dirty as heck. Look how dirty that is.
Once everything has germinated, give yourself a pat on the back. You did it. Now the only thing left to do is maintain your seedlings until planting time. Of course, you'll need to water your precious little planties every so often, but how do you know if you should water? The best way to check is by lifting up the seedling container, and if it's light, the soil is dry and it's time to water. Another indicator is if the top of the soil looks and feels dry. But be careful. The mix underneath may still be hydrated. I recommend bottom watering for small containers. Pour water in the bottom of the tray and the soil will wick up the water by itself. I water larger containers from the top because I've found that water tends to pool up near the bottom for these ones, and this can cause root rot. Quick tip. Ensure that your plants are getting 12 hours of light each day by using an automatic timer. These are fairly inexpensive and will automatically turn your grow light on in the morning and off at night. Your plants will love it, and so will you.
Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you found it at least somewhat useful. I tried to cover everything I could think of with regards to starting seeds indoors, but I'm sure there's some things I missed. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below in the comments section. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you share this video with your friends and family, and I gotta go because it's snowing in mid-April and I'm cold.